Okay, now that our knowledge domains are set up, let's dive in. We enter the AI regulation framework, and what we can already see is that our system has automatically created a summary for the domain and also for the document. Since we are the owner of the knowledge base, we can also we can also control the admin controls. For example, we can delete the domain, or we can drag and drop in new documents. So we notice we forgot the NIST artificial intelligence framework, so let's add it quickly. We upload this document, and we can see now that the NIST is added here. Of course, there is no summary right now. This will be generated after indexing the entire document, and also it will update the domain overview. Okay. Next, we can also see that we can delete existing documents, which will also update the knowledge base. So in some knowledge bases are evolving and adapt to the needs of the user over time. So let's start with the work. Instead of reading all of the 400 pages, we will just ask questions. Let's start with a more complicated question to showcase the abilities of the retriever of our system. So we will choose the GTE re-ranker, which is very good for English texts. We also offer like re-rankers fine-tuned for specific languages. We can type just a hash, and then we can see the two knowledge bases, and also we can also select to talk only to our large language model. And this time we want to direct our question to SoftBank, because we will ask what is SoftBank Group's target loan to value ratio, and how is it affected by changes in the equity value of its holdings. Okay, we will pick Llama 3. This runs locally, and we are ready to go. So now our system will search through this knowledge base, through all of the documents inside this knowledge base. In our case, it's just one document, find the context, the pieces of the PDF that it needs, and based on this, generate its answer using Llama 3, and also like forward the sources to the user. So what we can see here is that the system says it should be below 25%, this ratio, and 35% should be the upper threshold even in times of emergencies. So we can also go and check the source. So this is what is used from the document. Here it shows how it calculates the equity value of holdings and how it calculates the ratio. And we can check also this source here. It says that this ratio LTV should be below, so this loan to value ratio should be below 25% in normal times, upper threshold of 35% even in times of emergency. This matches also the text of our assistant. Yeah, so we want our system, however, also to go beyond retrieval and think in multiple steps, but this also like transparently so that the user sees every step. For this, let's flip into thinking mode, and also we can, to showcase just how easily it is to switch our large language model, we can use GPT-4. So the user or the enterprises can select whatever large language model we can fit it into our software, for example, like fine-tuned version. And let's showcase, we can also ask like multiple domains, multiple knowledge bases in this case. We want to ask a question that needs knowledge from the SoftBank, but also from the regulation knowledge base. Let's ask a more complicated question. For example, if you were a regulator evaluating the use of generative AI in financial reporting of complex transactions, like the ARM deal. I just want to note that the ARM deal was specifically referenced for SoftBank. Like they have a significant holding. SoftBank has a significant holding inside ARM. So what potential risks would you look for, and what oversight mechanisms might you require? So let's direct this to the thinking pipeline. So our system now notices it's a complex question. It will break it down into multiple queries over 4 stages of discovery, and it will use what it learned during each stage to ask like more targeted questions. What we have done in our system is we will do 2 directions of exploration. First one is vertical exploration. So we focus on digging deeper into subjects that we found through our exploration, and also horizontal exploration. So we look outward at multiple subjects side by side to see how they relate. We generate partial answers. So this here is like exploration 1. It is just the user's question. We have our findings here from the knowledge base, and here we have exploration 2. How can we ensure the explainability of generative AI systems in financial reportings to maintain transparency and stakeholder trust? And now the system will create like keywords which are used for our retrieval augmented generation pipeline. And so we notice over the course of the exploration, the questions get more and more targeted, and at the end we have all 4 stages are covered. So we will synthesize a comprehensive answer so that the user doesn't have to read through all of this thinking process. It's optional, and the assistant will generate the key finding, or will synthesize the key findings into an answer for the user that he can work with. Also, this is much more comprehensive. Note, in our first question we have like 8 sources. When we use the thinking pipeline, it will search 64 sources. We can also switch off the retriever, which will make everything faster, but then we don't search through the sources. And we can ask, what are the key points of our conversation? This will now integrate all of the queries and answers over the course of this conversation, and the LLM will now summarize what we were talking about. We were talking about the loan to value ratio, and we were talking about regulation in financial reportings. Just a much quicker summary. We can also, if we need it, ask questions to the web. So for example, what is loan to value? However, this might be asking the general knowledge of the LLM. So let's ask a question where it really needs the web. So for example, since I'm here in Istanbul and it's actually I need to know it, how is the weather in Istanbul over the next 2 days. So this will like quickly search the web. So the user can, for every question, dynamically decide, yeah, I want to know, I want to query the web, I want to have the thinking mode, I want to use this or this large language model, like local or like a fine-tuned version, or I want this and this re-ranker. The last thing that I want just to tease is the evaluate pipeline for our enterprise customers. We have here, for example, an indexed knowledge base, and now we want to evaluate fine-tuned large language models and fine-tuned re-rankers using these knowledge bases to see how good their performance is. We offer the possibility to automatically run the evaluation. We will generate our own data sets, or you can also manually upload prepared CSV files with question answer pairs to evaluate your specific re-ranker or retriever, and also we have an end-to-end pipeline for evaluation. However, this is just a teaser, and it would need its own demo. Okay, so just to summarize, in a few minutes we have turned 3 dense documents into secure libraries. We have collaborated with our colleague, and we have surface and evidence-backed insight that can, for example, if I was really an analyst at a venture capital fund, that could move a lot of money. So no all-night reading, and if you want a hands-on trial, let us know and we'll spin up a sandbox for you. Thanks for watching.